Hello, today is April 11th and I'm finally doing my presentation. I'm sorry it's taken this long. So my presentation today, girls, is on camping with Northern Ontario wildlife. And the reason why I did this is because I did a lot of camping before any of you were born, and I did a lot of camping on my own. I really enjoyed it, but late at night I'd get scared, and when I finally got through the night in the morning, I was very happy that I did it, and I was so excited to share that with my kids eventually someday. But when I'm married and we went camping at the trailer, there was a few times where you girls slept in a tent just outside the trailer 2 feet away, and I was so scared all night because of the animals, and I didn't want you girls to camp the way I did. So I thought, I think it's just because I don't know enough about the animals that we're around when we camp. So I figured if I did some research, I'd become more familiar and I would be okay with you guys doing it. And it has helped tremendously. So I'm going to ask you, what kind of animals would we meet when we're camping? Just say them out loud.
Bears.
Bears, yeah. What else?
Fox.
Fox.
Lion. Wolves.
Yeah. What?
Wolves.
Wolves, yeah. Beavers, mice,
Deers.
lots of mice, deer,
Moose.
yeah,
Cougars.
cougars, yeah. Cougars and mountain lions, I learned is the same thing. So actually I ended up, so my next slide, these are the animals that I'm going to be talking about. And I did have mountain lion on there, and I took it off just because my presentation was going to be a little bit long. And they're a pretty cool animal, but I also thought it might scare you. And there's so little mountain lions / cougars around here that they leave when they see us, so I didn't think that I'd keep them around. So raccoon, fox, lynx, bobcat, coyote, wolf, black bear, and moose. Those you will see definitely all around. And even the little ones, I put fox in there because I wasn't that familiar with them, and so I was scared. And you'll see after the presentation there's really nothing to be scared about a fox. So the first one, raccoon. So raccoons are mid-sized animals, and they have a bandit-like mask and a ringed tail. They live about 2 or 3 years in the wild. They weigh between 4 and 23 pounds. And in order to protect yourself, if you see a raccoon, you want to yell, stamp your feet, clap your hands, just make a lot of noise. Normally raccoons don't want anything to do with people. They're not really scared of people, especially when you go into provincial parks. And one experience I think I shared with you was I was camping by myself, and I knew better. I made the mistake. I'd opened up a can of tuna, and I left that can in my tent, and I went and visited the neighbors, and we kept seeing these raccoons come up and down from my campsite. So when we went to check, my zipper was down, but if you look at the hands on the raccoons, they have their dexterity. They're able to grab things just like us. Well, they had unzipped my tent, went in, ate the tuna. I had little individual candies that were wrapped. They unwrapped all the candies and ate them. And so my neighbors who were right beside me, they gave me a few pieces of wood for during the night, that if the raccoons came back, I could defend myself. So when I went back to the tent, it's dark, I'm by myself, I have these pieces of wood, and those little hands on the raccoon, I'm in the inside of my tent holding the zipper down, and the raccoons are on the other side trying to lift it up. And I'm petrified. And they grab on and they're trying to open it, and so I didn't sleep very much that night. And I slept in the car the following night. But I'm just thinking, I'm on the inside. If they were to get in, I have this piece of wood, but they'd be scared because they're in a small area and I could really get hurt. So, they shouldn't bother you, but if they get into a close proximity, I'm sure they could do some damage. The next animals, this is lynx and bobcat. I'll just go back. We took some pictures up north. I think it was of bobcats, so we've seen these quite frequently, but I didn't know the difference between them. So on the left, that's the lynx, and you'll see in the picture right here, the legs, the back legs are longer, the bum goes up a bit, and then under his chin you see how the hair comes down, and his ears, there's like a little tuft at the top. And when you look at the bobcat, it looks a lot more like a cat. The lynx gets bigger than the bobcat, And it says to protect yourself, attacks on humans are rare. Lynxes and bobcats can become a nuisance that has to be controlled. It screams at the night, and I listened to that on YouTube. You girls should listen to it. It is kind of freaky. And if rabid, it can pose a serious threat to humans. Deprived of natural prey, it may turn to livestock, pets for food. Should you encounter a lynx or a bobcat, you should keep as much distance between you as possible and immediately protect your children and pets. Back away slowly and deliberately. Avoid running away so that the trigger of a pursuit response doesn't happen. If possible, spray the animal with water when possible and make a lot of noise. A lot of the research that I did says that these will go after your small animal, your small house pets, and if you have little kids outside. Now the fox will live 2 to 4 years in the wild, and they'll range from 6.5 pounds to 24 pounds. The males are called dog foxes, and the females are vixens, and they tend to be monogamous their entire lives, which means they stick together, and I love that. So red foxes generally avoid people, but when the lure of easy food, such as pet food, unsecured garbage, and human food are available, they will come. If the fox has learned to associate people with food, likely because someone's been feeding them, it will exhibit boldness and even approach you. These foxes can easily be scared away by making loud noises such as yelling, blowing whistles, dousing them with water or squirt guns. Foxes usually aren't dangerous to people, but they can become rabid. That is not as common, but if you see them approaching you, then you need to get out of it. Next is a moose. Moose are the largest small deer species. Males are recognizable by their huge antlers, which can spread 6 feet from end to end. Their height at shoulders are 5 to 6.5 feet. Moose have long faces, muzzles that dangle over their chins, and a flap of skin known as a bell sways beneath each moose's throat. So they live about 15 to 20 years, up to 1,800 pounds. Remember, if a moose charges to ward off potential threats, they'll become aggressive. By assuring the bull or cow that you are not a threat, you can survive an aggressive moose encounter. So if you see a moose walking towards you, if you're worried that they're aggressive, they'll start stomping their feet, grunting, throwing its head back and forth, and peeling its ears back. If that's the case, if you see the man on the bottom right, you lift your palms of your hands up towards the moose, speak very softly and reassuring like you would to a child, and back away, and never turn your face away from him, but if you back up, talking in real soft voice, he will not be concerned with you, and he should go. Very interesting story here. So Hans Olsen is a 12-year-old Norwegian boy, saved himself and his sister from a moose attack using skills he picked up playing an online role-playing game, World of Warcraft. Hans and his sisters got into trouble after they trespassed the territory of a moose during a walk in the forest near their home. When the moose attacked them, Hans knew the first thing he had to do was taunt and provoke the animal so that he would leave his sister alone, and she could run to safety. Taunting is a move one uses in World of Warcraft to get monsters off the less well-armored team members. Once Hans was a target, he remembered another skill he had picked up at level 30. He faked his death. So the moose lost interest in the inanimate boy and wandered off into the woods. When he was safely alone, Hans ran back home to share the tale of his video game. So in order to fake death with the moose, you curl up into a ball, and they say to cover the back of your neck and your head, because the moose will, the moose will go like this, but if you're covering the back of your neck and your head, you'll be okay. And if you have a backpack on, then that'll help you too. And just don't move. They will lose interest. Here are wolves in our area. There's a gray wolf called the timber wolf, and the eastern wolf, which is found in Algonquin Park. So the gray wolf is, again, bigger than the eastern wolf, and it'll live 10 to 18 years in the wild, where the eastern wolf will live 8 to 10 years. Gray wolves travel in packs of 4 to 7, Led by alphas, wolves often mate for life. On average, gray wolves will eat 20 to 30 pounds of meat in one meal, but have also been known to go up to 14 days between meals with no ill effects. So the eastern wolf is very similar, but something that's very interesting is if you look at both the wolves, like we're used to seeing the gray wolf in paintings, the eastern wolf so often gets confused with coyotes. Okay, I'm going to come back to that. But the coyote, see the coyote? It's what they've actually done is they've forbidden it to kill coyotes or the eastern wolf because they look so similar and they don't want anyone to make any mistakes. So wolves are extremely wary of humans and not aggressive towards them by nature. Wolves' attacks are the rarest of all large predators. So during a close encounter with a wolf, what should you do? You should stand tall and make yourself look larger. Calmly but slowly back away and maintain eye contact. So with moose and wolves, maintain that eye contact. If the wolf does not run away immediately, continue making yourself large, keeping eye contact and backing away. Do not turn your back on the wolf or run. If a dog is about to encounter a wolf, the dog should be brought to heel at the owner's side as quickly as possible and leashed. Standing between the dog and the wolf often ends the encounter. To avoid risk of injury to yourself, do not attempt to break up a physical fight and a dog except by using bear spray, powerful hose at a safe distance. If the wolf does not retreat and is acting aggressive by holding its tail high, raising its hackles, barking or howling, you should yell, throw things at it, and continue backing away. If it attacks, fight back aggressively to show you are too dangerous to attack. To ensure that there is no opportunity for your child or pet to encounter any carnivores while camping, do not allow children to play alone or away from camp. Keep them close to